Welcome aboard the new patient group flight deck. Less chaos. Check. Less stress. Check. Less advertising costs. Check. More personal and financial freedom. Check. All right, business checklist completed. Let the takeoff roll begin. Welcome to Season 7 of the New Patient Group Audio Experience, a podcast dedicated to forward-thinking doctors wanting to learn innovative ways to run their business today so your practice can achieve new heights tomorrow. And now your host. He's the founder and CEO of New Patient Group, managing partner of Right Chat, and a trusted motivational speaker for Invisalign, OrthoFi, and others. Bryn Wright.
Hey, New Patient Group and Right Chat Nation. Welcome inside the broadcast booth. Bryn Wright here, and welcome into another edition of the New Patient Group podcast and our very first episode. I'm calling it the rapid fire session. So we're going to have guests in. And if you're watching on YouTube station, hey there, you can see that I not only have a guest, she is in the studio. Hi.
Hi.
Who are you?
I'm Dr. Brynn Cooper.
She's wonderful. And we are launching a brand new podcast. Well, we have launched it. It's the Right by Cooper podcast. So she's in the studio and we've been shooting like crazy. A bunch of episodes coming your way. But what the rapid fire sessions are going to be is just short. And we're going to run through a series of questions. She's going to answer them. We may get into a little conversation, but they're just going to be short and quick. So let's kick this off. You ready?
Absolutely.
All right. What's your favorite hobby?
So when I'm at home and it's on a day in, day out basis, my favorite thing to do is like go out and walk on the trails. But if I can skip town, then my favorite's snow skiing. Snow
skiing. All right. Is that why I'm going to have to see you at my house all the time?
Yes.
Now that we're in Springs. All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to be a free hotel for her. All right. Married or single?
Married.
Obviously, I know this. He's a great guy, and I actually laugh with him as hard as him and Richard Portalupe. You two, I think I laugh harder with than any people I've ever been around in my life. What's his name?
Steve Mall.
Hi, Steve. How are you? Kids?
Yeah, we have 3. We have 2 girls and a boy. And at the time of filming, we're at 6 years, 3 years, and 7 months.
Nice. Where'd you go to ortho school?
St. Louis University.
Did you like it?
Loved it. Best program ever.
So you would go back?
I would redo residency of any of the phases of my life. College and residency were by far my most fun. Dental school was like a dip in between.
Where'd you go to dental school?
University of Texas Health Science Center, San Antonio, also known as UTESCA.
Wow, you said that fast and really nice.
Thanks.
Yeah, that was really well done. All right, what city do you practice in?
Houston, Texas.
Houston, Texas. Well, kind of Lake Jackson's kind of outside of Houston,
yeah,
right?
Lake Jackson does not consider themselves a suburb of Houston. They are their own township separated by green space.
Their own entity, if you will. And then how many locations?
2.
All right, 2. Are you going to have 10? You going for 20? You're going to stick with a couple?
I don't know. I definitely want to grow more than where we are.
Okay. Yeah, I want you to too.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to have 37 locations. I made that up. I don't know why I said 37.
We'll see how that
20,
goes.
15, whatever it is. All right. What is your treatment modality of choice? What tool do you prefer the most?
Yeah. So anything that I can digitally plan ahead of time. And so I really don't have a preference between my digitally placed brackets, my in-brace lingual, my aligners, but I finish every case with a little tweaking in the clear aligners. My favorite thing to do.
Okay, your favorite thing to do. So no matter what, they're going into clear aligners at the end.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So what would you consider your biggest accomplishment? And the next question is, what are you most proud of? So if those two intertwine as the same one, then we'll just do that with one question.
Sure. My biggest accomplishment is starting a practice from scratch in an environment that people told me I wouldn't be able to do. And having kids while I did it, and it being super urban, super competitive.
Yeah.
Like, it's been a trip, and people wonder how I do it. I wonder how I do it sometimes. So when people have those mentoring calls and they're like, how are you doing it? I'm like, it's not pretty sometimes, but it can be done.
How is that? Do you think that's also your biggest struggle? Mom, kids, and then being her Houston location, everybody. And this is a little off the cuff, but this is actually going to be a podcast at some point, Rob Schaefer. And when you look at your data, this was back in February at OrthoFi's national event. They're calling out their top 5 highest producing practices in the nation.
That was highest conversion rate.
Conversion rate. I'm sorry, not producing, conversion rate. And I'm sitting backstage before they called me out. I was closing out the event, and I realized that 2 of the top 5 are new patient group customers. I'm sitting there going for a minute, wow, that's pretty cool accomplishment. That's pretty nice. And then I realized, well, the 2 in the top 5, they're in no man's land and they have no competition. They're the only game in town. And then started thinking about Bryn and her practice in Houston. It's in the 60s right now, conversion in that one, right? Mm-hmm. But she's one of 12 opinions. You roll a quarter down the street and it's the epitome of what orthodontics has become. And you got price shoppers and everything. So when they're in the 60s and 70s some months, that's better than somebody that's at 95 when they're the only game in town. So don't let the data on paper make you feel bad about yourself, because it's actually an accomplishment. So I just wanted to put that in there. But you think that's your biggest struggle?
I think
all those combined?
It could be where I was really thinking my biggest struggle is just dealing with like team members, especially having gone through COVID and the timing of my startup.
Yeah.
And then because it's a competitive environment to get cases, it's also a competitive environment as far as what kind of employee experience you're creating. And, if someone doesn't like it, they can go down the street and they're like, hey, now I have 6 months of experience down there. And then they just get a couple more dollars an hour. And so it's really hard to create that culture and of not having turnover just for kind of willy-nilly reasons.
Yeah. And that's, I think, a lot of the hourly employees. We have quite a few that listen to this podcast. You all short side yourself by just what she said, going down the street for $1 or $2 more an hour. It looks so enticing now, but long term, by you not sticking with a job and thriving in an area, I think you're costing yourself money and opportunities by just bouncing around job to job. But anyway, podcast for another time. So cool. Is there anything else you want to talk about? Or are we done with the first rapid fire session?
I think that's a good rapid fire session.
All right, everybody. Well, thanks for tuning in. If you're watching on YouTube, thumb that up, share it with your friends and colleagues, and audio experience channels. As always, write us a 5-star review, spread the word about the New Patient Group podcast, and everybody will be back with another edition soon. Bye-bye.